I'm ready to do it, I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now, I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this.
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
with a thrilling first round to begin a new decade of simulation racing. The action continues into week 2 as we welcome you to Road America, located in a virtual Wisconsin in the United States of America. It hosts the second round for Season 10 of the Aussie Mixed and Fixed GT Series, with all coverage on Apex Racing TV. We're streaming live on the iRacing Esports Network. Welcome to our worldwide audience, whether you're joining us on YouTube, Twitch, or anywhere else where you watch iRacing broadcasts around this Road America, 6.4 kilometers in length. That's just under 4 miles. We are using that road course layout. We're not using the bend before the kink. I don't think I've ever seen that used in the world of iRacing. We've got that thrilling Turn 11 kink layout on offer for us. It'll be a clockwise layout, as you can see on screen, with 14 corners around the long forest near Elkhart Lake. There'll be 45 minutes of racing action for today's event. Look at the track temperature. It's up to 45 degrees Celsius, so slippery conditions out there, despite it being hot. And turn 1 will be ever so intense. It's 600 meters from pole position to turn 1, and it's a circuit, Road America, that promotes a lot of straight line overtaking across that long main straight at the bottom of the track map and all the way down to the moraine sweep at the end of turn 5. And don't forget Canada Corner towards the end of the lap. Good afternoon, everybody. Jonathan Simon on hand in the commentary booth. Daniel Lead alongside me. Scott Newton behind the scenes, our producer. Daniel, welcome to Road America. And it's a circuit that's been described, funnily enough, not that you'd have to agree with this, but it's been described as the Spa-Francorchamps of the US. Agree or not?
Look, first off, good evening to all the viewers and tuning in on YouTube. Great to have you aboard. But look, not sure if I'd agree that it is the Spa of the US. Certainly a great track, has to be said, but a little bit different as far as technical skill required to get around maybe. But like you said early on, high track temp circuit itself lends itself to a lot of big overtaking. Turns 5, the run through the kink, and then down into Canada Corner, as you say, going to be really, really key for the guys tonight to get those right.
And managing left side tyre wear will also be critical because there's so many high-speed right-hand corners.
Well, yeah, tyre wear is going to be a big thing, and we'll sure to see that play on later on tonight, obviously. We haven't touched on it yet, but the guys will be out for 45 minutes. So one compulsory pit stop. They don't require the tyres through this one, so it will just be fuel. But the tyre management going to come into a lot of key in that last 40 minutes or 5 minutes towards.
Yep, and as Daniel mentioned, it will be a 45-minute event coming up. That's one of our 2 different race formats on offer. We'll have 3 successive endurance events, and we'll talk about the race format for those later on when we need to. But for the 45-minute race, there's only 1 pit stop required, and the drivers, Daniel, cannot make that until their 3rd lap locally, if that makes sense, and personally for themselves. It's not the 3rd lap of the race, it's the 3rd lap in succession that the own driver crosses the line.
Yeah, and that's a nice little bit of a touch that the guys have got here. It allows that strategy to play in a bit further on towards the back end of the race. I think if we saw everyone come in lap 1 and try and run it through the end, it'll be a little bit boring. So having the strategy mix certainly going to spice up the racing, similar to what we saw.
And the series is completely GTE, so we have 4 GTE cars on offer. That's the Ferrari, the Ford, the Porsche, and the BMW. Which cars are suitable this round, do you think, Daniel, for certain drivers? We know that car selection's locked for the season. The drivers can't jump from cockpit to cockpit, but who's going to be beneficiary of Road America today?
Look, I would expect to see probably the Ferraris and the Porsche maybe up towards the top. Having tested the BMW out in the long straights, it's a little bit slower than both of those cars. So probably going to really require the tow, especially up into turn 1 and down to 5 to maybe get the most out of that. But we know the guys that can handle it very, very quick and longer wheelbase, probably going to be a little bit better for getting through a little bit quicker corner speed.
And we'll have a look at today's grid for the 45-minute race. It will be Neil Pearson, who's 6th in the championship standings, finished 6th for round 1, and the DPR racing driver will lead proceedings from pole position for this rolling start in his BMW. He'll be alongside the other BMW of Braden Nash for RSR Esports. Have a look at the grid behind. Aidan Luthwaite had an impressive first round. don't see Mia Ott all the way down until 10th. Mia Ott, our race winner, Daniel, starting on the 5th row. Not the best beginnings to round 2 for Mia.
No, not the best start for race 2. Obviously, had a great win last time out at Imola there, so hopefully he should be able to repeat that again. But coming down from 10th, hopefully the slipstreaming that he can get down through turn 1 is going to help him out.
Yeah, most certainly. You can see Matt Morris and Justin Ruggia starting from the 6th row right behind them. We'll cycle through the rest of the order here. Now, this race is split compared to last week, so we have a lot more drivers, and it's just not enough for one server to handle. Then you can see Dave Clements. That's Aussie Mixed and Fix owned Dave Clements, starting from 13th. Justin Wallace, bit disappointing for him to see him on the 7th row. How about William Mitchell starting from 21st? William Mitchell further down the order than we expect as well. Then we cycle through past Ben Collard in 24th, and you can see the rest of the names on screen, all the way down to Rob Crisdale starting on that 16th row for this rolling start. Now, as we cycle through the rest of the grid, Daniel, it's a rolling start here at Road America. We're doing a full pace lap. Normally around this track, what is it, like a 2-minute lap normally? And this pace lap's going to be quite some time.
Well, yeah, the being one of the older service or tracks on the service, we still get the benefit of the long pace lap here. So I would expect that we're going to see a lot of guys maybe looking to switch the motors off. I know you don't need to, but I'm sure the guys will do that just to save that little bit of fuel and ultimately cut down those pit stop times later on. But still nice to be able to go for a full.
Now, Justin Ruggia has been given an end-of-line penalty here on this pace lap. Any reason for that? I don't quite see what he's done. But certainly Ryan Kolstad from Race Controls felt that Ruggia's broken the rules before this race has even begun.
Yeah, not too sure what's happened there. I'm just having a quick look back through race management. Haven't seen anything pop up yet, so we'll keep an eye out for that. And once we do get word of it, no doubt we'll be the first to bring that up to the viewer.
Yeah, most certainly. Now, we should mention our series sponsors, Abruzzi Racewear. Visit them at abruzzi.com.au, and you can grab yourself a pair of sim racing gloves or anything else that you fancy from Abruzzi Racewear. And we also, Daniel, have a new sponsor, and that's Simfinity, and they'll be joining us for our 3 Enduro rounds. They'll be offering 3 $100 gift cards for the 3 races, and you can put that towards a Simfinity rig if you race in this series. So for anybody who wants to sign up, join the Aussie Mixed and Fixed GT series, and that's an opportunity that not many series in sim racing offer.
No, not at all. And having looked at what Simfinity are putting up, beautiful 80/20 rigs here in Australia, so nice to have that sort of customizability with those sorts of rigs. So no doubt all the guys will be angling to try and get one of those gift cards for endurance points.
Now the driver's heading towards the end of the lap here at Road America. Now, this is where the kink is, one of the fastest corners in all of motorsport. Have you ever seen a race here on iRacing, Daniel, use that little bend on the outside of the kink? It's available on iRacing, but no one's ever used it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in any of the official series. Obviously, the kink there is part of the motorcycle layout. I would be surprised maybe you see it every now and then in maybe a hosted league, but certainly not seen it being taken advantage of throughout the course of the iRacing official series.
Yeah, we're about to get going here. Like I said, it's a very long run from pole position to turn 1. And what are your thoughts here, Daniel? Where do you go? Where do you begin this race if you're Neil Pearson?
Look, if you're Neil, you probably want to hold the field back almost to the end of maybe halfway up through the pit straight there. But if you can keep the car pinned down towards the middle to left-hand side of or right-hand side of the circuit, you're going to get a really nice run into 1. But the option you've got there in doing so is you potentially open yourself up on the run into 3. So it's going to be critical to see how he goes. Looks like we're just working our way through that final corner now, and we're going to get all this played out in front of us.
Most certainly, the race about to begin. It'll be 45 minutes of action. And here's Pearson ready to lead the field away. What a shot that is here across the main straight. And we go green from Road America for round 2.
Yeah, it looked like a great start from all the field there. You see him fan out 2 and maybe a little bit 3 wide on the run.
Yep, and through the first few corners they go. It looks like Pearson still leads from Nash. It's a very progressive start from the drivers, very clean so far. They know that this track supports a lot of overtaking, so no need to get yourself into incidents this early on.
No, not at all. I think everyone here come away relatively unscathed, no issues there at all. So it looks like a good run for them. But already a few cars starting to gain a little bit of an advantage. Miot up into 9th position. You can just see there, Braden Nash having a bit of a look down on the run into 3, but right behind where all the action is.
Yep, and now through turn 5, they go through turn 7, I should say. Pearson's livery looks striking, doesn't it, there? That DPI racing car looks so beautiful here as they ride through to the latter part of the lap. And then here's the carousel. It's going to it's going to cause a lot of abrasion to those tires, especially the left sides as they fly through this section of the racetrack. Now, let's not be scared, Daniel. We'll see a lot of 2x2 through there, let me tell you that much.
Yeah, I think the brave ones will attempt it maybe later on in the race once the pace settles down a little bit. But to be honest, you don't want to be on the outside on the exit of the carousel and running into the kink. If you're that man on the outside, it's going to be hard to try and get that car through. So look for a few guys maybe to either lift off early and let those coast through, or potentially try and stick it around the outside.
Yeah, most definitely. Here's Pearson, now the leader. He's got that advantage to 0.8 of a second. They've already broken away from Martin Crisp, the Canadian. So it's Pearson from Nash, from Aiden Luthwaite. Martin Crisp, like we said, leading the second pack in 4th. Danny Davison's in the Porsche. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? That EXG Motorsport car of Danny Davidson. Lee de Vandenberg is in 6th. Mia Ott's already climbed 2 positions into 8th here at the start. So at the end of the first lap, that's your order. And one driver's already in the pit lane. Is that Aiden Luthwaite?
Yeah, I think it might also be Dave Clement in the lane as well. He's got a very long stop, 47 seconds he's been in there so far, as you can see up on screen. The Abruzzi pace car out there, driven by Damon Mulqueen at the moment, just working his way down into 3. So very slow run for all the field.
Yeah, well, so Luthwaite from the 3rd position, that's not going to count. We have to check the rule book about this. I feel like it's a safety car. These cars are going very, very slow at the moment. I believe it is. It should be a pace car. There's no way this is race pace, and there is the pace car on screen. So we didn't hear a word of that. But officially, the pace car has been enabled. Now, if Luthwaite has taken that pit stop, Daniel, we need to confirm by the rule book. I don't think it counts to a compulsory pit stop.
No, that'll be a little bit too early there for his stop. Obviously, only race or lap 1, and looking at what we've seen in the rulebook so far, these guys need to complete the first 3 laps before they can jump in that.
Now, excuse me, so we're going to confirm this in the rule book. A mandatory stop can take place anytime during a pace car period, Daniel. So there you go. That's the answer to a question we needed answered. So for Luthwaite, he's going to be behind a huge pack of cars. Do you think it's the right decision? Because he's going to have to pick off a lot of cars in these next 40 minutes.
Look, depending on how much fuel he was able to squeeze into that tank, it could be a good play for him. If he's able to get enough to bring it home, you'll certainly see him jump the field a lot further on, maybe another 40 minutes into this one. But, I mean, obviously everyone's going to have to stop, and depending on where he is now, obviously we know he's right at the back. If the pace from the guys up in front's nowhere near it, he's going to lose a lot of time.
And pace car periods, I mean, V7 tires, what do you think? You got to warm up these tires, do you reckon, more than usual? Well, these cars aren't on a V7, are they? I'm getting confused. Yeah, excuse me. I'm getting confused with which cars are on V7 and V6. But generally, if these cars were on V7, Daniel, I think warming them up would be a little bit more of a preference.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing you want to do is go into 1 here on cold tyres, but looking at the pace that they're going, it shouldn't be too bad. You see Pearson sitting right on the back of that safety car, and that's a long train going right back to the start of the carousel.
Yeah, very long. How many cars out there? It's hard to calculate because you got the race control in as well. It's around about 40 cars. What's the biggest race you've been in? I've been in a few offline 100-car races. Biggest online I've been in is probably about 50.
Yeah, I think the biggest online one was probably about 60, one of the earlier AOSC races quite a few years ago, and that was really tricky. Try to keep an eye on everyone circulating at that point in time. So nice to be a little bit smaller. Obviously 42 or 39 cars, sorry, out there at the moment. You can see the pace car pulling away, and yeah, these guys with the 39 cars out there, still a lot of work for them to do.
Certainly is. We're about to go green again. That striking Porsche of Danny Davison looks so good in the background, but it'll be Pearson from Nash, from Martin Crisp. He promotes himself up a position. So does everybody else behind, with a pit stop of Aidan Luthwaite, who drops down to 32nd. Then it'll be Davison fourth, like we said. Lee Vandenberg into the top 5. Then it'll be Clark, Ott, Gardner, Morris, Scott Gamble. We're going to go green because Pearson decides to floor it early. A good decision for him. He's got a great advantage here over Braden Nash, and he's climbing away here on the main straight as we commence racing. The shortest pace car period I've seen in quite some time. And so far, slow and steady doesn't win the race because Pearson's screaming here.
Yeah, fantastic jump from Pearson. He's opened up a little bit of a gap there, 0.4 of a second already on the run into 1. And you see just behind there, Justin Wallace, a little slower in that race on Oscar. He's putting a move on Scott Gamble there for the Mark 1 Esports car. So the Porsche starting to come alive.
Certainly is. This is Wallace now, like we see, who Justin Wallace himself missed out on the championship, didn't he, last year by a small margin. Certainly capable of it. Here they come through the Marine Sweep for the last time, for yet another time. It's Pearson. Now the gap between him and Nash is starting to close down quite a bit, but it still looks like Nash is keeping him honest.
Yeah, Nash doing a really solid job early on. I mean, I picked the BMWs would probably be suffering a little bit around that this circuit, but here we are, 1, 2, and 3 at the moment. So the guys have found a little bit of something in the pace, so working very well. But Nash certainly not letting go. The gap still sitting around that 0.4 to half a second at the moment, and we're only half a lap into this, and the guys looking very good.
Yep, now Brady McHugh is into the pit lane, so he's broken our timing screen, but it looks like he's had issues recommencing this pace car period. Still hot conditions out there, so these tires shouldn't take too long to get back up to temperature after the pace car period. Certainly not for Pearson and Nash here as they lead the field away, but so far, brilliant performance by Neil Pearson. We should have seen more of this at Imola. Remember, Nash finished 4th, Pearson finished 6th, so the pace here lighting up for these guys, and it's not any setup work, is it, Daniel? Because these cars are on fixed setups.
Yeah, exactly. This series runs a fantastic fixed setup, which the race control do a lot of work on to get these cars as close as possible. And for the guys that are able to adapt and get on with it very quickly, fantastic result. But yeah, as you say, Braden Nash, I mean, we saw him running 2nd and 3rd last week out at Imola, so expecting big things from here as we see him up in 2nd. But a little further down, Danny Davison has got himself a lot of Lee Vandenberg trying to come around here into 3.
Certainly does. There's a penalty at the bottom of the screen for anybody who's focusing on Michael Spithill, but this is your pack from... We're watching Danny Davison in the red Porsche. This is from 3rd all the way down to about 7th or 8th. They're all very close to each other. Mia Ott's last in the train. Davison to the outside, making a move.
Yeah, he's almost going to lose a spot here to Jeremy Clark, just behind Clark, thinking about going up the inside, not able to get it done, but Mia Ott also figuring into this one as well. So these 5 cars here, we're looking at 3rd, 4th, 5th, all the way back to 7th, and very close between all of them.
Crisp is struggling for sure. Crisp through the latter stages of the lap here and then to the carousel. He's going to have to keep that car planted through here, Martin Crisp. Pulse Racing Team car, I don't know what's happening. He's losing a lot of time right now. He's 3 seconds behind your 2 leaders. And right now, this bunch wants to dispose of him. I think you can get it done into Canada Corner.
Yeah, if you can get down the inside, and I don't think we're going to see a move come off here. The guy's just a little too far back, but Canada Corner probably going to be one of the best spots, especially the latter half of this lap, to get a move done for the guys that can fire it in there, kick it back to 2nd gear and try and drive through. They should be able to get it done, but right now we're seeing Chris put that car into all the right places to keep everyone behind.
I was about to suggest as well the BMWs were the reason why these four were leading, because the BMW is very quick around Road America, but I think Crisp is struggling. It doesn't matter what car he's in.
No, I'm not too sure what's going on because his last lap time by was a 2:03. Our leaders last time round a 2:19, so a long way up. As you can see, a move being put on him there. Vandenberg down the inside. It's a strong move.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Danny Davison's ready to pounce as well. He'll look for the inside on Martin Crisp. Crisp can't close the door because Lee Vandenberg's still there. And it looks like Davison will have round two here. This time on another driver. He'll try and dispose of the Pulse Racing Team car. How about Mia Ott making a way past Jeremy Clark for Riot Sim Racing? Clark's going to fight back too. Here's a Noah's Ark battle down to the Moraine sweep. Mia Ott up the inside, defending and attacking at the same time.
Yeah, that was a forceful move. As you can see, a little bit of battling in the back there as well with Matt Morris and Adam Gardner. But Mia shut the door pretty heavily there on Clark, and almost at the same time, as you say, putting a move down the inside. So Mia's really pushing forward, up 4 spots from where she started.
Very odd to see Morris not in a Porsche. We've been so used to seeing him in that car.
Well, yeah, last year, green Porsche, he was out there, and always figured towards the back end of the race, started a little bit down, so qualifying performance maybe not quite there, but outright race performance was one.
Still watching this train. So it's third to... Look at the timing screen, Daniel. Look. For everyone from third to, what is it, to 14th. All within a second. Well, I mean, William Mitchell's ruined that for us, but man, that's those gaps are insanely close.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys that are going to start getting a bit antsy here to try and stick one up the inside. And next in line, you've got Mia Ott in his privateer car looking for a move, so potentially going to see another pass down into turn 1 here, but keep an eye on Matt Morris down towards the back end. He potentially could pick up a couple of spots as these passes and overtakes do start to heat.
Still watching Crisp. This is a move from Martin Crisp. No, it's an attack from Miard, I think. Whoa, one car's off the racetrack just as we switch to Michael Spithill in the pit lane. This is Spithill serving his penalty that was earlier. But there you can see the dust there as well behind the... I'm just ahead of the pixelated trees. But someone's gone off the racetrack. Now, was it Scott Gamble? I'm not sure. I don't think it was.
No, I think it was Jeremy Clark actually running a wide there. And we'll see if we can potentially duck back to a replay maybe a bit later on. But yeah, Clark's dropped well down the order, down into 10th now, and looking to get back past. That's Justin Wallace just ahead of him. And yeah, he's got a long way to go.
Oh, no, that's not an overtaking spot into 6th. And off the racetrack goes Jeremy Clark again. He's having a torrid lap. That's almost 10 positions.
Yeah, a little bit of the red mist there, and we'll go back and we'll have a look at this replay. Just get a better view on it. He's keeping an eye there, Mia Ott going through, and maybe just missed that brake marker just a touch. Nearly collected the BMW there in front.
So what's he done there? He's missed the marker, you said, you reckon? Or has he just gone in too hot? Has he carried a bit too much, like just let go of the brake pedal a little bit earlier than usual? If he's trail braking?
Look, I potentially think it may be a miss of the brake there, because you can see the guys coming in. He carries a lot of speed, maybe just not quite accounting for the turn in of that BMW.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, because I think he got the corner right, but the BMW ahead had the outside line. Did you see how the BMW just tried to force its way back into the racing line, and it's caught Clark empty-handed. So fortunately for Jeremy Clark, he's definitely his error, but it's not really unforced. He had to avoid a few cars up ahead, just trying to get back into formation. Look at the movers and shakers through your field. Specchio doing quite well. How about William Mitchell, like we saw before, who's in 11th? William Mitchell's up an abundance of positions.
Yeah, Mitchell having a very strong run at the moment. He's well up the order now, finds himself 10 spots up, so a big run for him. He's got Chad Hearn just behind as well, so these guys scrapping over 11th and 12th, and then Jeremy Clark, after his misfortune last lap, slotting in right behind these guys down in the 13th.
So we're 15 minutes through this race. You can see, ladies and gentlemen, at the top left-hand side of the screen, of course, thanks to our sponsors, You'll see him cycle throughout the race. There it is at the top right-hand side of the screen. That's Abruzzi Raceware Australia, as we see William Mitchell here on the defensive. That's Chad Hearn in the Mach 1 Esports car. Still trying to pull off the move is Chad Hearn here. And Mitchell will remain ahead into 6th. But visit abruzzi-raceware.com.au for more information. And they're the proud partners of the Aussie Mixed and Fixed GT Series for Season 10. It's the first season of 2020, though. Let's not get mixed up there. But tell you what, right now, this is a great little battle. And then it's all turned to... I don't know what's going on right now, Daniel, but there's a pass around the outside into the carousel.
Yeah, well, Chad just ran that a little wide and through 8 there and had to come back in towards the entrance to the carousel. So that's allowed Chad Hearn to come around the outside of him there. And these 4 super close running down through the kink. You can see Steve Bartholomew just at the back there, potentially going to try and maybe clean up all 3 if these guys come.
Oh, brilliant scrap. This is Canada corner. And through Thunder Valley, here's the difficult Bill Mitchell bend. You rise over the crest. That is a blind corner, ladies and gentlemen. You can't even see the entry now from this angle as the drivers form up. It's been a lap to forget for Jeremy Clark, but he'll be looking to reclaim those positions as soon as possible. Martin Crisp into the pit lane.
Yeah, it's about the right time. You'd expect the drivers to start coming in between sort of the 15 to 35 minute mark. Rugia up on screen as well, putting a move on Michael Whiting in the Fishy Motorsports car, and he should get this move done pretty well. But yeah, I think from now on, we're going to start seeing a lot of these drivers come in. We did see Michael Spithill a couple of laps ago come in to serve his penalty as well. So all penalties should be all addressed and counted for.
Now, Rugia is not having the best of races. Do we have that movers and shakers graphic up, Scott? Let's try and get in that producer's ear again. I want to see how many positions Rugia has dropped. It's not on my timing screen, but he certainly started. What did he start? 11th, was it? I think, Daniel, off memory.
Yeah, well, he's down 5 spots at the moment. So started out at 12.
So 16.
Currently sitting in the 17th spot right now. So, 17th spot right now.
Justin Rugia.
Yep.
Are we looking at the same?
Although if I look at the overlay, she's saying 18th.
Wait, mine says 19th. What's going on here? Are we looking at maybe something's wrong on my side? Is Rugia really 18th, 17th?
Yeah, I think he is well down the order right now. As you see him making a move there. That was Ben Kolstad he disposed of in the BMW, so getting a move done there. But yeah, certainly well down the order from where he's.
All right, so I think I know what's up here. We're sorting out the issues behind the scenes, but that's hilarious. This is Justin Wallace on screen. Ahead of Gardner and Gamble. That's 2 Mach 1 Esports cars behind. The Mach 1 Esports cars, Daniel, can we nominate them for possibly best team for the season, if they can get it done? They've got a lot of talent.
Well, yeah, a couple of seasons ago, we saw them really taking it to the Race on Oz guys. Race on Oz maybe a little bit less supported here this season, but Mach 1 always putting a good foot forward. And we'll have to do a quick count up, but they've got at least 7 cars in the field here tonight. So we see Wallace making a bit of a meal at turn 1 there, locked the brake and ran it off to the grass there, so he drops 2 spots. But yeah, the Mach 1 cars certainly looking quite well presented and teamed at the moment.
Now look at that penalty for Mr. Stockert. And he's serving it at the moment, but that's an unsafe track re-entry, and that's something people often forget in sim racing. You don't want to drive around like it's a public lobby. And even in a public lobby, you don't want to drive around like it's a public lobby.
No, not at all. And I think one of the things we saw last week with the big field that we did, we noticed a few guys having a little bit of trouble with some blue flag awareness, so obviously going to slightly smaller field size, opening up to 2 splits again should help that as well. So for the guys that are out there, they'll just keep an eye out, and where required, they should jump out of the way, I dare say. Neil Pearson, however, doing an absolutely stellar job. 0.3 of a second out front. Braden Nash just behind. These two virtually identical lap times last time by 2:02.4s for both of these drivers. They've got themselves still that nice 5-second gap over third place, Lee Vandenberg and Lee. I'm surprised not quite able to get back up to the front of these guys after having gotten away from the BMW we were watching a little earlier there, being a bit slower. But all in all, these two going hammer and tong, running down into turn 1 here. We should see Nash considers the inside, brings it to the outside. He's going to have a better run through here. Pearson probably going to back this up, which could be a bit of an issue.
Yep, definitely. This is Pearson up the inside. Him and Nash fighting for the lead for the first time this evening here in Australia. Whilst this is occurring, the Porsche of Adam Gardner's into the pit lane. So that's one of your all-star cars to the Mach 1 esports team. But this is your lead battle. We've been waiting for this since lap 2, since the safety car restart. And they're alongside each other here on the back straight, heading to the Moraine sweep. Who's going to lead coming out of 5?
Yeah, I think Pearson will keep this on, although runs it a little bit hot, and that's going to open the door here. We're going to see a change of position. Braden Nash getting up over the crest, and he'll take over the lead of this race. So 20 minutes in, we finally get a change, but Pearson trying around the outside. These two are virtually identically matched.
This is awesome. This is awesome. Can't put it in any words. Pearson with a lot of mid-corner oversteer. Almost lost the car, didn't he, through turn 5? And the safety car's deployed. This is going to change the race quite substantially. We're just getting a good fight for these two leaders. Now, there is a no escape rule, Daniel, so that's going to come into effect, and that's going to cause a lot more safety cars for Season 10.
It certainly will. I think we thought we might have seen it last time out. We didn't. We've got a couple of cars that are stationary on the track at the moment, so in between turns 1 and 3. So we'll keep an eye out to see who those two cars are. And I think it might be Adrian Volk and Jason Delegan sitting stationary there. So potentially those two are what's brought out this safety car.
Yep, and these two will definitely make their mandatory pit stop, which is allowed under the rules, like we established. And there they go. There's a bump in the entry of the pit lane here. I've seen a lot of drivers in the past as Vandenberg joins them. So does Mia Ott. I saw Patrick Holtzman once in a world championship race here, Daniel, in the past in open wheelers, almost lose his car on entry to pit lane because of that bump.
It's pretty technical trying to get in there. Obviously coming in uphill, you can come in a lot later. So if you do miss that up a little bit, it's certainly going to launch the car quite.
This is your pit party on screen. Look at the graphic on the left-hand side of the screen. We've almost got everybody in the pit lane.
Yeah,
I think it's the whole field.
I think we'll be pretty close to the guys. We do have to keep an eye at Aiden Litherwaite. He's come down the lane for his stop, and you'll see him jump well up. And we've got a change of lead out front. Damon Stockton will take over the race. He's still yet to come down the lane for his stop. So, actually, sorry, no, he came in quite early on, so we'll keep an eye on that. But he should be right to go here. As you can see, one of the cars there on its roof, so that's a big crash for those two.
Oh, goodness me. And we're lucky we can laugh because it's virtual racing, but that's quite an odd sight to see here. And that's what's caused our virtual safety car. Ironic, actually, a real safety car, but you know what I mean, in the virtual world. And it will be Stockton still leading. So Stockton's made that pit stop, you confirmed, Daniel. So who's the first driver I see who hasn't made a pit stop? I think almost the entire field's in. Yeah,
I think the only driver I've got that hasn't come down the lane as yet is Luke Page. He's currently sitting in the 4th spot, up 22 as a result of all those pit stops having taken effect, but yet to come down the lane. Other than that, we've got Martin Casey, Aiden Litherwaite. Oh, sorry, Aiden's come down the lane for his stop. We do have a few cars a little further down that are yet to come around, so they would have cycled back up to the back of this train here.
Now, for Luthwaite, that pit stop hasn't paid off, hasn't it? So I think, I mean, he's going to be on the back foot for the rest of this race, I reckon, with the rubber on that. Even though it's V6 tyres, the rubber's still not going to last.
No, it's going to be a big one to manage through. Be interesting to see now how we can manage that. Big one I'm curious on. Obviously, we've had all these cars come down the lane and take a splash of fuel just with this safety car. The big unknown right now is Damon Stockton. Came in very early on, and whether he was able to get enough into that car to get himself home is going to be really interesting to see with 20 minutes still on.
Yeah, so the race is, it's definitely a lot of time left. How long is this pace car period? We're assuming it's only going to be... I mean, the lights are flashing on the pace car, but I think it's coming in this lap, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Although, we're seeing Stockton actually being switched around with Pearson. So keep an eye on what's going on there. We're hearing race control letting the safety car.
Well, the safety car's coming in this lap, and as we said, I was just about to point that out. Ryan Kolstad. I didn't quite hear anything behind the scene of Ryan Kolstad telling Stockton to drop behind Pearson. That's going to infuriate RSR Esports and Braden Nash, who's going to start this race from third.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the call was around that, because unless we missed it on the exit there and Stockton maybe just a touch behind when the lights went off or he crossed the line there. So wait for that to unfold. But yeah, that's certainly not going to be the best position there for Nash, having to now fight against another car and work his way past that before he can even get back up onto the back of.
And talking about license numbers, look at your purple numbers on the left-hand side of the screen. Those are our professional drivers, our highest licensed drivers. I see 6 in the top 20, and our highest place is 4th, and that's Luke Page.
Yeah, don't forget though, I'm pretty certain Page actually still needs to come down the lane for his stop as well, which if that's the case, that's going to drop him well down the order, and that's going to put Mirot up as lead top of the...
Yeah, for class, Mia Ott leads the overall standings, also leads the class standings, obviously. That makes sense. And Luthwaite is second overall, second in the class for your 900 drivers. Lee Vandenberg actually leads the standings for your next division of drivers. So keep an eye on Lee Vandenberg this race.
So we're hearing two safety car is in the lane as well. So we're waiting now on Pearson to get this one back underway, but he's really holding that field up.
Yep, certainly is. So keep a lookout for him. Excuse me, I did say professional before. It was elite, your purple drivers, just confirming that. Here's Nick Pearson to recommence the race here. Just under 20 minutes remaining. We're back live racing on Apex Racing TV and the iRacing Esports Network. Pearson with a substantial advantage ahead of Stockton. Braden Nash, though, hungry to get past Mr. Stockton in second ASAP. This is Matt Morris on screen in a nice little scramble for the bottom end of the top 10.
Yeah, there's a little jink there. I think that might have been Martin Casey or Aiden Litherwaite there, getting the car a little bit sideways just in front of Matt Morris there, but we're well down the back of the order here. These guys are really going to be scrapping now hard to try and work as far up this order as we...
Matt Morris still hungry here in the VMMR car. He's in that Ferrari. And he's trying to squabble out here with Danny Davison. Nash is past Stockton. Vandenberg's into 4th. Mia Ott's also past Luke Page. We've had an incident behind as a car's almost lost control. It's difficult to see who that was. But it was difficult to see, of course, Daniel, but certainly one driver, possibly Stephen Bartholomew, in trouble.
Yeah, I didn't quite get a look at the number, but we'll keep an eye on that. Bartholomew's in a lot of cars here. We're going to quickly duck to a... Actually, it was a little further ahead of him. It was one of the Race on Oz Porsches there getting all caught up. I think that potentially might have been Justin Wallace maybe in that car having a little bit of difficulty up.
Yeah, definitely. We're now back with Stephen Bartholomew. Excuse me, sorry. Everybody's playing up. This is Justin Wallace now on screen. So Wallace down the order as well. He was almost champion last season, wasn't he? It's very weird to see him here in your mid-pack.
Yeah, probably a little further down ideally than where he'd like to be. As you can see, Bartholomew still working hard to get back up towards the front. Nash has been able to dispose of Damon Stockton as well and pushes himself up into second position, but 1.5 seconds back now behind Neil Pearson. So it's a lot of work for him to do after that opening lap restart. But all the action right now is down between that 4th position all the way down through the 5th. See the run up here. Dave Clement working hard. He's up 6 spots. He's got Luke Page just in front of him and Martin Casey as well. Casey actually getting a move down the inside into 3. He's gonna run Dave Clements wide. We can see a 30-second hop, stop and hold for Aiden Volk for not leaving room there. So that adds a little bit of insult to injury there, copping that one. As you can see, Clements trying hard down the inside in that forward. That's a big move for the Mark 1 eSports team, but runs a little wide, and that's actually going to allow Martin Crisp to come back up the inside of him.
And Luthwaite in the Ferrari made a bit of contact with Scott Gamble ahead. Casey past Clements again. Oh, and a bit of bargy here through the outside of 6. And now through 7, we've got some cars off the racetrack. I heard some contact down the back of the pack. Everybody's getting restless with 15 minutes remaining.
Yeah, all these guys are going to want to dispose of as many of the competition as they can. Aiden Lithwaite, might remember from last week, finished second, so he's a long way off at the back end of this race here, down in the 11th spot right now, so a lot of work for him to do to climb up into this top.
Yeah, with that early pit stop, it's going to be tough though. Pearson leads by 1.9 seconds out of Nash. So that's your order here in these last 15 minutes. Here is your leader on screen. Mia Ott's in third in this race. Brilliant climb up through the field by Mia Ott. How about Clements and Gamble? Clements Gamble, what's happened to Scott Gamble? Are there issues? Certainly through Canada corner, Scott Gamble, the Mach 1 eSports driver, he's slow and he's made some contact, it looks like there, with the Ferrari. And Gamble here on the main straight. Oh, he's going to get his rhythm back somehow. Look at the amount of cars he's going to have to defend from.
Yeah, so they don't want to be the first in the line, especially on a long run like this, up into 1 here. Litherwaite with a really good save in that Ferrari, getting it on the grass, but able to pull it back into line. You can see all the guys fanning out behind, looking for a spot. Dave, Mitch Williams potentially up the inside there. He's tucked on the back there at Danny Davison. You can see these two fighting on the run into 3, and right behind Litherwaite's coming under all sorts of pressure again.
This is Jeremy Clark now along with William Mitchell. William Mitchell's up ahead in a battle. Jeremy Clark, the Riot Sim Racing car, was in the top 5 at one stage along with Martin Crisp in this race. So was Aiden Luthwaite. It's like a race to forget for this bunch, but they're all going to squabble together here. Here's this downhill braking zone into 5. It causes so many incidents at Road America. But Clark in the 712, not gain or not lose any positions here. I love this circuit, Daniel. It's something when you join iRacing, you got to race around here.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so good. I've had fond memories on it from all the way back to Champ Car days, and do recall an IMAX doco that they did around here with Newman Haas Racing all that time ago. But no, circuit itself, a lot of fun, and for the guys that are able to get their head around it, master it, really, really good. You can see it in the background too. Justin Ruggia slowly working his way back up towards the pointy end as well, and he's a long way down now, still sitting in that 19th spot. So a lot of work for him to do, and really uncommon for what we traditionally see from him.
This is Ruggia, the OSR driver. Also races, Super 2 in the real world as well, Daniel. He's trying to make a run for supercars as well. Makes a move up the inside here, nevertheless. Oh, and there's contact. Just as we say that, Ruggia's race has taken a turn for the worse. I can't even see him on screen anymore. He hasn't even got that car back around. He's in a difficult place on the racetrack.
Yeah, that was on the exit of Canada corner there. So unfortunate for him, I don't see him in the timing as well. So I don't believe he's escaped out yet. He's still showing active, but he's a long way down the order as a result.
Yeah, wow. Ruggia is down there in 35th. He's essentially last because remember, Vlok is essentially out of this race. Ruggia has dropped to the bottom end of the field. That's not where we normally see Justin Ruggia, and this is what it causes. Do you remember Formula One this year at Brazil, Daniel, at the end of the race, and we saw Alex Albon lose a podium? Did he even finish in the points? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't recall if he finished on the points, but yeah, certainly very easy to lose, and these guys are going to have to be careful of that going.
Focus back on Martin Casey. It's at the bottom end of the top 10. Casey looking for a move here in the closing stages. Pearson's got this race, I reckon, all locked up, you could say, with 10 minutes remaining. Nash, do you reckon the draft kept him honest? Do you reckon that's what it was?
I think it might have been a little bit of help from his teammate Stockton there off the start. That sort of opened up the gap and he was able to get around. So, so we're still going to have to wait to see what the call from race control was around the change of position at the start there, but certainly that helped Nash get himself further ahead. Stockton's still travelling along in the 5th spot, so hasn't fallen too far back, but yeah, that little bit of an advantage certainly played well into Neil Pearson's hand. Further down though, Martin Casey has got mirrors full of Danny Davison running up into 12 here at the moment. Davison gets the car down the inside, and that'll be a move done. That's exactly what Ruggier was trying to do just that lap ago, and able to get it done.
There's a lot of curb on the outside there that aids Danny Davison's pass into the top 10. Here's Aidan Luthwaite now on screen. Luthwaite down in 14th after the early pit stop. He's dropping back and back. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting him to make progress up through the order. But it's been a struggle for him nevertheless.
Well, those couple of contacts that he's had earlier throughout the race have really put paid to his move forward up the field. And I always say he was second place outright last time out at Imola. Currently sitting down in that 14th spot. So certainly a night to forget for him, but obviously they'll turn their attention forward for next week. But yeah, he was working well, still going along, which is what you...
Definitely. This is still Luthwaite on screen. Now we flick over to Damon Stockton. Damon Stockton in 5th. Leads essentially the first train we have. This is from Stockton to Page to Dave Clements. Matt Morris down the back end of the order. Morris has driven splendidly in this after the safety car phase. Up the inside, he throws it past Clements. And has he sealed the move? He has. That's a brilliant pass there, I think, from Mr. Morris, if he can get it done. And he does. Sealed. Delivered at the exit of turn 6.
Yeah, that's a big push down into 6 there. And great awareness from both guys. Dave Clement giving him just enough room so that I avoid the contact, but that was a big brave one from Morrisek.
Yeah, here's the replay. Now, if you're driving on a single screen, Daniel, that's the trouble. You can't really see to your outside.
No, you're relying a lot on the spotter and crew chief to help you out, and I think a lot of these guys will know Matt Morris probably runs with a spotter to help him out as well, so they'll be just keeping you an eye of who you're up and around. But yeah, single screen action around Rotomac, probably not one I'd be wanting to do.
Something I've done my whole sim racing career. I think I switched to a field of view on iRacing to on a single screen on a 27-inch monitor, Daniel. I think I drove my entire World Championship career on 50 field of view on a single monitor, believe it or not. I don't know how I battled that way. I somehow did it. I don't think I battled. I think I just bowed out of every battle. Being from Australia, you don't want to battle with drivers. All the net code.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're throwing two good things up there, the small field of view, and then the net code is another issue. Davison with Will Mitchell here fighting on, but no, I'd once you've gone triples, you never go back. And I think with this short of exception, when I first started iRacing many years ago, every other year has been with triples, which makes it so much more enjoyable. And for all these guys, gives you that little bit of an advantage just to see where these cars are placed, like you wouldn't rely.
Yeah, but like you said, this is Mitchell on screen in a scrap with Danny Davison. There's a carbon copy drag race with the two. Oh, they were so close in the braking zone. Only a matter of inches separated the two drivers. It'll still be Davidson who has to defend here into 6. Mitchell's sticking it to him. Mitchell's making the move into 10th. The grit, the determination, the hunger from William Mitchell and the Pulse Racing Team driver earns that 10th spot.
Yeah, it was a solid push. You wouldn't normally see that go. I think Danny Davison tried to chase him as far across the road as he could with it, just leaving a little bit of room. So probably not expecting the run up into 6, but good awareness just to keep that door just a fraction open there. Pretty much everyone from 7th up, I think we're going to see those positions fall the way they are with 5 minutes left on the clock. But from Gamble back, this train's really tightening.
Are you a footy fan, Daniel? Aussie rules?
Look, closet fan, yes. Supported the Lions all the way when they took their 3 premierships, but
yes,
haven't followed it much since then.
Go the Lions. I don't know if the first time you might have heard this, I go for the Brisbane Lions too. So we love each other even more now. But the reason I bring that up is, do you remember the Channel 10 5-minute warnings? Well, I think we're going to have one of those. Oh, talking about this, William Mitchell's out of the race. Channel 10 5-minute warning, put that to the side for the moment, because it's William Mitchell who, after his brilliant pass, there he is in 10th. talk us through this, Daniel. What's happened? Oh, it's a blind corner, isn't it? Seeing that from the onboard shot, I think, would be a lot worse for Mitchell.
Yeah, and he's just tried to get the move done there. I think it might have been one of the Mark 1 Esports, the forward there. I think that's Scotty Gamble. And just not quite able to get it done. Loses a little bit under brakes, maybe just not anticipating that hit. And then hits the service road there, and it throws him off into the wall.
So was that Clements he hit, I think, in the forward? Can't quite remember. But
actually, yeah, you are right, Dave Clement.
No, so the reason I'm saying that is Clements seemed to dab onto the brakes. I'm not sure if it's a corner where you really use the brake pedal that much. Maybe Clements had to take avoiding action to Luke Page up ahead in the Ferrari.
Yeah, potentially. I know you do, well, you know, maybe just me being a little bit slower these days, do dab the brake just a touch to point the nose in. And obviously with the higher track temps and the lot of tyre wear that these guys have seen, they're probably just starting to run out of that tyre grip at the back end of this race.
And we still watch Aidan Luthwaite, who could have easily been up the early order. Took a risk on strategy. Credit to him. I don't mind that. Anybody who's brave to do that deserves karma to go their way. Maybe not this race, but in the future. Mitchell is officially a DNF out of this race. He's parked the car in the pit lane. But Luthwaite here is on the attack on Dave Clements. Here they are alongside each other into Canada corner. Clements. Good defensive driving from Clements. And I'll tell you what, without there being an exit or a long straight, you can get away with hugging the inside at Canada corner.
Oh yeah, it was a smart move there. Clement just opened that wheel, drifted the car right out wide to tighten up that line, and it made it really hard for Luthwaite there. So smart driving, and Luthwaite will learn a lot here. Sitting behind Clement, you see him run it all the way to the inside up against the wall, and not going to make this an easy one for Aidan to come through.
And this is the penultimate lap. It's a 2-minute lap around here, so we should get 2 more after this. And here up the inside is Clements on the defensive. Around the outside goes Luthwaite, trying to claim that 10th position from the Ford of Clements, the highest ranked Ford in this field. Very rare to see that Ford GTE out there in the Aussie Mixed and Fixed GT series. But Clements now demoted to 11th. Now we watch Adam Gardner on screen. Gardner's down the back end of the order in 18th, and he's under attack from Paul Wood.
Yeah, and just behind that, you can also see Paul Wood's teammate there, Gary Cousins coming along. So these 5 cars really close together a little bit, and that's going to send the Ferrari.
That is a lot of contact here to end the race. Will this race end under safety car? That's the next question, but Gardner, I think he'll be okay to commence. We watch Matt Morris on screen, who's up into the top 5. 4 BMWs, by the way, lead this race. Was that something we expected discussing this pre-race?
Well, if you remember correctly, off pre-race, I called the BMW to probably not be a fan favourite here. And going to have to eat the words on that one. I thought the Ferraris and the Porsches would have been up towards the pointy end. Having said that, Morris leading Ferrari, sitting in that 5th spot. Danny Davison, the leading Porsche, they're back in 9th position as well. So BMW's coming on very, very strong.
Could always be a little bit of talent too, Daniel, don't forget. Doesn't always have to be the car.
Oh, hey, talent goes a long way in this series.
It certainly does. We've had the likes of Shane Van Gisbergen race in this series in the past as well. Daniel, will be interesting, hopefully, to see him back in the future as we watch Scott Gamble here at the end of the race. White flag waves because we're in the United States of America. Might as well keep that tradition. It's the final lap.
Yeah, final lap here. Pearson working down into 3. We've got Scott Gamble up on the Mark 1 car trying to get around Damon Stockton a long way into turn 1. So these guys fighting hard here. And right behind that, you've got Luke Page, Danny Davison as well. So a couple of guys that could potentially jump up. Davison's going to have a rundown here into...
Brilliant stuff from Danny Davison. He's driven well this race, has Danny, in the highest ranked Porsche. And a bit of a dab of the grass there from Luke Page. He's falling down the order, the privateer Luke Page. In that elite class, he's earned that license. He's got a high I rating for sure. And now still alongside each other are the 2 up ahead. That's Mr. Gamble and Damon Stockton. Oh, and off the racetrack is Damon Stockton. He's going to drop down to 9th.
Yeah, so a little unforced error there from Stockton, so he's going to lose a few spots, as you say, but That'll promote Davison and Gamble now 6th and 7th respectively, so they're coming on strong. Neil Pearson for the final time out through the carousel on the run up into the kink, and it's been pretty well flawless run for him so far.
Very, very flawless race. Great choice of words there. Had a small little battle with Braden Nash before the second pace car period, but it didn't phase the Aussie of Neil Pearson. He's going to be the overall winner in this race, despite having a professional license in that 762 car. Goes to show iRating doesn't mean everything. And goes to show, no matter what car's so quick around here, it's all talent in this series, because Neil Pearson is going to take his first win of the season. He wins for round 2 of the Aussie Mix and Fix GT Series.
Yeah, coming in a second, Braden Nash for RSR Esports continue their good run. Mia Ott down in third, but up front, DPR Racing going to be overly ecstatic with that result there. You can see the guys battling down the end. We've got one of the Ferraris going off. That's Luke Page. He's had a bit of a shocker to forget for this final lap. And Dave Clements will round him up on the run up the hill. So that's all the guys down into the 10th position. Rob Chrisdale, new slightly changed livery for him on that BMW for JPS, and gets home in the 17th spot.
And Mia Ott will retain the championship lead with that 3rd place finish. 2 podiums to begin the season for Mia Ott. Here's Gardner on screen. Not the result Adam Gardner wanted in that Porsche, but the Mach 1 Esports driver will come home 27th. And there are points on offer for every position here, don't forget. So it's still important to finish these races, despite the late race incident there for Adam Gardner. Paul Wood still coming through the field as well as he heads through to the kink. He's going to finish this race in around the 30th position, depending what happens in the next few hundred meters. But nevertheless, Daniel, a brilliant race from Mr. Pearson. Let's not forget Braden Nash for RSR Esports. Brilliant result for Nash for the podium.
Oh yeah, definitely. All 3 drivers put on a fantastic show. DPR, RSR having a fantastic run. Mia Ott coming all the way from the 10th spot up into 3rd, so it's a great run there to finish.
So as soon as Paul Wood crosses the line, I think we can take a look at the race results, and we'll wait for it. Maybe in 5 seconds. Imagine if you just slow down right now just to take the piss. He doesn't do that. Paul Wood's a nice fella. But here we go. We'll take a look at the race results for round 2. What am I saying right now? As by the way, I just noticed that. You see those little tire treads into the gravel trap at turn 1? That's certainly from an incident earlier on in this race. But anyway, here are the race results. Neil Pearson wins. It'll be his first for the season for DPR Racing. Braden Nash, now I think, off my estimates, which aren't reliable, but I think Braden Nash will still be ahead of the championship here. Ahead of Neil Pearson in the championship. Mia Ott, though, will lead the championship overall. Lee Vandenberg and Nash, they'll be very close on points, it has to be said. I think it'll be Braden Nash ahead of Lee Vandenberg. So if I have to predict the championship, it'll be your top 4 right now in this race are top 4 in the championship in whatever order. At least we know Mia Ott's leading. So those are my estimates so far. Brilliant result for those 4. Matt Morris with a brilliant drive towards the end of the race. Just picked off so many drivers. I lost count. Ends up in the top 5. Aidan Luthwaite with the early pit stop. Didn't work out for him, but credit to him. And like I said, he tried something different on strategy. For Luke Page, fell out of the top 10 in the closing stages. Wasn't able to maintain his pace in that 935 car. Same for Rob Chrisdale in 17th. We cycle through from 18th onwards. 18 cars in the top within 30 seconds of each other to lead this race with Gary Cousins in 18th. But I think that was all caused by that second safety car period. Ruggier at the end of the day ended up 19th. Just now, was that correct? Wow, that's impressive to see Ruggier after falling down to the back end of the order. And then as we cycle through the rest of the order, Adam Gardner with a late race incident in 27th, along with Jeremy Clark in 28th, unfortunately for them. Along with Justin Wallace too, let's not forget. Could have been higher up the order. Paul Wood was our last driver on the lead lap for today's event, with William Mitchell, a late race retirement as he went into the wall at Bill Mitchell Bend. So it's time for our first interview for the day, and we're going to drag in Neil Pearson. Neil, is that a gasp for a refreshment? Gasp that the race is over? Gasp that you've just won your first race of the season?
Yeah, gasp for the first race win, and I desperately needed some water.
It's been I tell you what, it looked like a pretty clean race for you out there. I think the only moment I saw where it got a little restless was your battle with Braden Nash. Did that pace car come out at the perfect time for you?
Yeah, it did. We had a really good ding dong going down into turn 5, 6, and 7, where I think we actually swapped positions a couple times. So, and then I got really lucky when the safety car came out, and my teammate came out, eked it up right behind me. So I was able just to push through and get that gap.
And I can't, this is off the top of my head because the points aren't calculated, but you're definitely top 4 in the standings at worst. And that's a brilliant way to kick off your campaign for season 10. So looking at next round for round 3, it's something that you're going to want to continue for sure to carry this form on onto the next round. The car is locked for Le Mans for the BMW. We weren't expecting the BMW to be quick around here today. Is that form going to carry into Le Mans?
I hope so. It's a tough track, Le Mans, but I mean, everyone's running the fixed setup. So, that really helps the BMW, I think, especially at low high speed tracks like here and Le Mans. So it just doesn't, the other cars don't have that drive off the corner that they can drive away from it.
And I should ask as well, your safety car restarts were pretty splendid. Even the beginning of the race, there was at one point, I think you floored it at Bill Mitchell Bend. So with like 2-3 corners to go, you decided to floor it early. Is that something you planned before the race?
No, race control sort of said, we'll tell you when to go. So and then as they said, go when you're ready, but all I heard was go. So I just took off.
So brilliant result. Anybody you'd like to thank for your first victory?
Yeah, I just like to thank Apex for the great broadcast. Also Southwell, Lifton Hoyts, Benmax Mechanical, BetSmart Racing Services, and my teammates at DPR Racing. Great bunch of guys and really helped me with my racing.
Awesome. So we'll leave you to it, Neil. Hopefully see you back on the podium and for interviews next week. For now, though, it'll be Daniel Leet alongside Braden Nash, who finished home and came home in second.
Yeah, g'day, Braden. Congratulations on second position, mate. The RSR Esports boys starting to make a bit of a habit of in the top 2 or top 3 in the podium. Obviously, your teammate Aiden at Lithuate last week getting up there, but for yourself, fantastic run in the BMW, mate. How was it?
Oh, it was awesome, man. Yeah, well, that's the goal. Second, third, top 5 is really our goal for every race we enter. But no, it was really good. Awesome racing out there with Neil today.
Well, yeah, off the start of the race, looked like both yourself and Neil were able to get away pretty comfortably between after the first safety car. You guys opened up a pretty decent lead, and the gap didn't seem to be more than half a second to 0.3 of a second. And then with a little bit of a fight towards the middle point just before that safety car came out, you guys were pretty well neck and neck. So, was there any places you felt slightly stronger on the circuit compared to Neil there at all?
Being in his toe really helped. He had through the carousel section out the back of the track, he had so much pace on me. So being in the toe helped me keep up with him. But no, he really had the pace over me today. If I would have passed him, it would have been just out of luck, him making mistakes. So yeah, it was pretty good race.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, obviously, second tonight, it's going to make a little bit of amends for last week. I think we saw you finish 4th, and could have been a podium there as well for yourself. But no, mate, the guys are coming on very, very strong there. Before we let you go and enjoy the celebrations for second, was there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to for yourself and the RSR?
Oh yeah, thanks to all the sponsors of Brit2 Racewear, Butt Kicker, and our social media sponsor, Formula Hypersoft Network, for all their support.
Fantastic, Braden. And again, congratulations on second tonight, mate. Certainly look forward to seeing you out on track next week at Le Mans.
Thank you.
And finally, we'll speak to Mia Ott, who came home in a 3rd position. Mia, this is becoming a regular occurrence. We just hope regular occurrence is seeing you race every Sunday night. I think that will be your biggest challenge this season.
Yeah, I just got asked that by Neil, and I said, I will try to, but if my move up to Brisbane doesn't really screw me over, I'll probably be here every Sunday. But no, this race was all right. Really bogey track for me, so not too bad to be on the podium.
Yeah, and talking about screwing you over, qualifying certainly did that. You started way down the order, and tell you what, you're still points leader, like we said. You're still going to lead the championship, but you made it real difficult for yourself today with qualifying.
Yeah, I did get a couple of traffic issues in qualifying, and the other guys looked like they got some draft on their lap. So I was on the back foot from qualifying, and I knew it. So I just did everything I could in the race, and those two safety cars really did help out. So, but yeah.
And Daniel and I were discussing before the race, we didn't think the BMW was going to be that quick of a car. Then you have 4 of them finishing in your top 4 positions. Is that all driver talent? Are you all just really, really talented, or is this something that we've overlooked?
I honestly think the BMW is an all right car this season, but it might get changed through the iRacing BOP or either AMF. But it's a really good car. It's nice and stable. It's good on its tires. It's a really good car. So especially for the endurance rounds, I think you'll see a lot more BMWs up front.
And finally, anybody you'd like to thank after today's podium? That's 2 for you to begin the season.
Oh, I think the same that I thanked last race, but no, I think also as well Redback, they were there. Redback Racing Team, I was there with their guys during the race, and also some of Mark One's guys as well. So yeah.
Yep. No, awesome. All right, we'll leave you to it, Mia. We'll catch you hopefully. Well, we'll catch you next week on the podium, probably again. Let's not jinx it, but that will be Le Mans. And Daniel, we'll leave Mia to it. But for us, we're going to head to Le Mans next week virtually, and it's a long track. The thing I'm already looking forward to is thinking, are we going to do the full pace lap to begin this race?
Well, I guess the advantage there, I don't believe we're going to be doing. I think it should be the short pace lap, which will certainly be ideal for that. But I think the big thing is going to be how good the pack drafting is going to be, especially down the Mulsanne and through the back Porsche, Indianapolis and Porsche curves for these.
Yeah, imagine if we did the full pace lap, give you like a 3-minute biography on every driver just before the race begins. How long would that be? That'd be like 8 minutes. What would it be at least? I can't remember how long it is in Le Mans to do the pace lap, Daniel, when they do it.
Look, I think it'll be up around the 8-minute mark, yeah, for sure, especially when you're going at such a slow speed. So from memory, the guys start off the back of the Porsche curves, so that'll save us about 6 minutes there, and we'll be able to get away pretty quick. But certainly looking forward to seeing how these guys will go out there. I know last season when we ran, the racing was really hard and fast all the way through the field. So I think we'll see a lot of the same again. And, you know, like we say, maybe we've overlooked something here, but if those BMWs are as quick as we're thinking, they could be well up the front again. Although I'm still putting a bet down that those Ferraris and Porsches are going to find their way up towards the pointy end.
And let's not forget the forwards too, Daniel. There are a couple out there. Do they have hope heading to Le Mans?
Look, I think they still can. I know last season we had a couple of very talented guys running those cars, and they kept them towards the pointy end regardless of what the field quality was like. But take nothing away from Dave Clemens. I think maybe just struggling a little bit in the BOP with that car at the moment. Looks like he's able to still get the moves done with it, but not quite there in the outright pace that we're seeing from.
And so that will be it. And these GTE machines will be back racing again for the next race. That will be on the 19th of January. It'll be in a week's time. And like we said, it will be for 45 minutes of racing action around the Circuit de la Sarthe. And that will host round 3 for season 10 of the Aussie Mixed and Fixed GT Series. It'll all be broadcasted on Apex Racing TV, streaming live on the iRacing Esports Network for the first time in season 10. Thanks to Daniel Lead alongside me, Scott Newton, our producer behind the scenes, the entire Apex Racing TV crew as well, and for myself, Jonathan Simon on hand, we thank the entire audience for joining us for today's broadcast, because this has been an Apex Racing TV presentation broadcasted on our associated platforms. Visit apexracingtv.com for more information on sim racing broadcasting too. Our winner today was Neil Pearson in the BMW, and we say so long from Wisconsin and from Road America.